Lionhearted Entertainment.
So now we're moving on to the segment of the day where we name the most iconic runs in hip hop. Not all of the most iconic runs, but kind of we're mixing it up a little. So, bear with us. We're not going to name everything. But from songs to albums to charts, who had the best runs, who had some of the best runs. We're going to do this in snake order like we have in the past, 5 each, and I'm fucking starting off. So I'm starting it off with my fucking boy. I'm starting off with Lil Wayne, the greatest rapper of all time. And really what I want to make clear here is that he had the greatest 3-year run to cement him into that place as the greatest rapper alive. So in 2005, he drops the Carter 2, and then the beginning of the Dedication series of mixtapes, which are some of the greatest mixtapes of all time. And then in those 3 years, he basically dropped 12 projects, 9 mixtapes, and 3 albums. And in 2007, the greatest mixtape of all time came out, which is The Drought 3. And then basically the icing on the cake is he came out with Carter 3, which is my favorite album of all time in 2008. So basically in those 3 years he had –
And then he dropped No Ceilings right after that.
Yeah, and then in 2009 he drops No Ceilings. So from 2005 to 2009, basically Lil Wayne's fucking awesome is what I'm saying. He has the Carter 3, the Carter 2, Dedication 1, 2.
Carter 4 did like 900,000 sales in a week.
Yeah, but that was like 2013.
Was it? Or was it
12? Yeah, it wasn't around there.
No, it was definitely not in college.
Yeah, no, Carter 4 came out in 2011, I think. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Lil Wayne's fucking the GOAT, so that was my greatest run.
If you don't think that, then just stop listening to this podcast and never listen to it again.
Yeah, Bennett, turn it off when you fucking say Kanye West, bitch.
Shit, Lee, you're number 2. I want the back-to-back.
I'm number 2.
All right, you want me to take it? I think you got number 2 the last, 3 times we did this.
I mean, I can be in the middle. I don't care. I think I'll just go, I guess. I'm going to go with, I guess, my favorite little run during high school was, Maybach Music, when they all kind of came out together and, Meek originally signed, and then Wale dropped Ambition, the album, and Meek had the whole Dream Chasers and Dreams and Nightmares, and everything all came together at one time. They also dropped those collective projects. The first one had I'm a Boss on it and a bunch of hit songs, and then the second one had that Black Grammys, I think. Black Grammys was either on the second one or the third one. I don't know, that whole run. I was so obsessed with that's when I first learned how to make beats, and I was so obsessed with the Maybach Music group that I would put the Maybach tag in all of my beats and stuff. So I didn't have a producer tag, so I would just put that. Yeah, I just love that whole era.
All right, so my turn. This one's for Jersey mainly, but it was also one of the most iconic runs in hip-hop. I'm going to go with Fetty Wap. When he first came out, so actually let me tell you a quick story because I actually listened to Fetty Wap before all these came out. These songs were actually all on a mixtape, but no one really knew the singles from the mixtape. So when Fetty Wap first came out and gave us Trap Queen, 679, Again, My Way, then the remix with Drake, and then RGF Island, all in a row.
RGF Island was so fire.
Dude, every song went right to the top. Definitely top 10 of Billboards. Every song charted high. Was up there for a while.
Too.
It was. Popping. And Fetty Wap was just running away with everything. That literally it all happened within probably the same year, to be honest. All those songs came out. If I kind of want to go even less and say the same 6 months. And I just remember every week there's
playing Trap Queen probably 6 months before it really started getting any traction at all. I remember him playing it nonstop in 18, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And he's like, oh, he's from New Jersey. And then it later, I guess it was the next semester, he was just huge, and everyone was playing all of his music. It was crazy.
And honestly, till this day, some of these songs are still one of my favorites. I love 679. I mean, you hear these songs on at the club all the time still. It's just timeless music.
You can play them forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's timeless music. And once, just to come out with all these in one period of time is ridiculous.
I'm not really sure what happened.
we'll get into that another day because that's a whole conversation itself. And then my next one, I'm going to take it to the producer level and just go with my guy, DJ Mustard, who's actually killing it right now. Just a side note. But when he first came out, he fucking changed the game for real. That fucking Mustard on the Beat ho just changed everything about music. He came out with Rack City, Bitches Ain't Shit. I'm Different with 2 Chainz, R.I.P. with Young Jeezy. He had that song Headband with B.O.B. and 2 Chainz. My Nigga with YG. He had YG's first album.
Yeah,
Paranoid with Ty Dolla $ign. Show Me with Chris Brown. The list goes on and on and on. Just I remember being in high school and all these songs were just coming out and it was the same fucking Mustard on the Beat ho every single time and every song bopped.
Didn't you have 2 on too? And then
Yeah,
Drake
bro.
hopped on
He
the
had
remix?
2 on. He had Or Nah, Who Do You Love, Main Chick, 24 Hours, Don't Tell 'Em. It's literally the most ridiculous run for a producer.
Yeah, I mean he had like the whole mainstream wave. It was like every song on the radio was just
And literally every song on the radio, every song on Billboard was just DJ Mustard. I don't even think. I think he
remember
had
I had
all
a
100 spots.
I had a playlist of like 40 songs on my iPod at the time, and it was just DJ Mustard songs. Like I was like obsessed with that whole sound.
Dude, and
Yeah.
they were all fire.
No, that's a great run.
But let me point out right now, like literally in the last year, I'd say DJ Mustard's been killing it, and especially the last few songs. Like he did
I think
Heartless
he kind
and
of like
shit.
switched his.
Yeah,
sound a
he
little bit.
definitely did. He actually changed his name from DJ Mustard to just Mustard. I don't know what it was trying to imply, but he definitely did switch his sound up a little. But
Well, and he's also not sticking around with old heads either. Like he's, making beats for Polo G. Like that's fucking dope. Like a 21-year-old kid. Like he's staying relevant in today's era of hip hop. So he's gonna have songs from back in the day. Then it's gonna lead into this new generation, and then who knows after that? Like
I mean, granted, he's a producer. Like that's the massive benefit that you have.
Very true. Yeah, you don't have a sound of being old because you don't have to hear your voice.
If you have a good ear and you don't get trapped in a single sound, which is pretty amazing that he didn't get trapped in that one sound, you can basically go through the different eras and always work with like whoever's popping in the industry as a producer.
I also want to point 2 things out because so this run that I'm talking about is between 2011 and 2014. Just doing quick math, in that time he had literally over like 20 platinum records, which is fucking wild as a producer. And to note on top of that, I also saw him at Coachella in 2014 as a DJ, and he ripped it. Like he was playing his songs, but he was actually like mixing music and hitting clean transitions of songs that aren't his, and he fucking killed it. So all around crazy run, all around beast producer. Love that guy.
Fire. All right, Lee, number 2.
I'm gonna go with Uzi, but I'll say like in general, like the whole SoundCloud wave when SoundCloud was popping, and when you would go on SoundCloud and you would see like these songs. I remember seeing what is the Lil Yachty song that went huge, Broccoli. I remember seeing that song and it had like 200,000 plays, and it was the only one with like a banner on SoundCloud, and it was just reposted or promoted or whatever. And then the same thing happened with White Iverson. It had like 900,000 plays on SoundCloud, and that was the first time I heard it. And everybody was just like reposting stuff. It was like Twitter almost. They fucked up. Since then, they've like fucked it up. But that was when I discovered all of those artists. And then I discovered Uzi kind of through that, and then kind of through YouTube. And then he released like Lil Uzi Vert Versus the World, which is the second project, his second like big project. And then the Perfect Love tape. And then all of those like singles on SoundCloud, all within like the same time period, basically. I think when Love is Rage came out, he started to get like a lot of traction on SoundCloud.
Well, that's
Look at that Double XL list. Those are all of the rappers that got huge like on SoundCloud.
Yeah, Nav got pretty big on SoundCloud too, right? Is that where he came from?
Yeah,
kinda?
yeah. I mean, that's kind of like where I found his music.
I mean, Uzi's biggest song is a SoundCloud song. Like it wasn't from a project. It
What,
was
Tour
literally
Life?
from SoundCloud. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
true.
kind of a shame like what happened to SoundCloud. I think that they ruined like the stream and the community of it kind of a little bit, because that was why it was cool. It was like you could repost and comment on people's music and stuff. Like and it was so much easier to share people's music and to like naturally build like a little following. And for some reason, I don't know, it like died down a lot. Maybe it just got too watered down. I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, if you don't have like, you know, SoundCloud doesn't come from, did anybody buy SoundCloud ever?
No, I think
Yeah.
Twitter should have bought it or should buy it.
Is it too late now? Well, I guess there is no other site that you can really comment and do all that kind of
You
stuff.
can't repost news. Like,
Yeah.
you can't go on Instagram and like repost someone's picture.
Yeah.
The only,
yeah, exactly.
The only thing that's like that is Twitter, really. And it's weird because back then people would make fun of people, or they still do, for like being a SoundCloud rapper. But like that whole wave of rappers was really the most poppin' XXL group since then.
No, I agree.
If you think about it.
Yeah. No, that's
Those
a good
are all
point.
like the biggest rappers right now.
Yeah, I like how you brought into like the SoundCloud run into here. So that's dope. All right. I am up and I'm going back to back. And I'm starting off with, I mean, I went from Lil Wayne, and I know it's kind of generic that I'm throwing the classics out here, but you got to fucking throw them out here. I'm throwing Eminem, White Boy coming onto the scene kind of for the first time was there any other before? I mean, that really got big. Like
Beastie
there
Boys?
was,
Yeah, Beastie Boys, I guess, would be the closest.
yeah, Beastie Boys. But at first, like what's crazy about Eminem was that people like his own label and the people that were managing him were basically like, you're not going to get famous with what the fuck you're saying. Like what you're saying is fucking crazy and stupid. And he was basically like, watch this, like, fuck you, I'm doing it. And so Marshall Mathers LP came out in 2000, which is probably one of the best albums of all time. It did 1.8 million copies first week and was the fastest selling studio album ever. And then he drops the Eminem Show, which is third straight commercial album. And that came out, I think, a year or two later. And then the movie 8 Mile comes out a year or two later too. And then he drops Lose Yourself, one of the biggest rap songs ever. So in that 2-year time frame, he had Marshall Mathers LP. He had the Eminem Show, which is the third biggest Billboard album of all time. And he owns the first biggest Billboard album of all time. In 2005, he dropped, what was his 2005 album? Was it
Curtain Call?
Yeah, Curtain Call, which is the biggest Billboard album of all time. So just Eminem in that, like those 3 or 4 years that's just ridiculous. Like he didn't
I don't
have
think
to.
anybody's disputing that.
He didn't have to. Yeah. He didn't have to do anything after that. Like I don't know why he's kind of throwing out songs still, but it's not tarnishing anything, I guess.
He's already cemented, man.
Yeah. So fucking crazy run, and then
8 Mile had a soundtrack too, right? Like a full album with it, or no?
I don't know if it had a full album with it. I don't know if they released Lose Yourself for the first time in that movie. I'm not sure what happened with that. But it was kind of like the first time a rapper like dropped a movie around I think.
Yeah.
I don't think the
One of
Biggie
them.
album, or obviously the Biggie movie and the Tupac movie came out way later, and there hasn't really been a movie on any of the other rappers. There will be one day, but like,
Yeah, for sure.
I think the come up of Eminem in that movie is fucking fire. Just understanding his life. But then I'm gonna go with about a decade later, we got Wiz Khalifa, and I talked about this last time.
I was gonna take that.
Yeah, so he had How Fly in 2009. He had Flight School in 2009. He had Deal or No Deal in 2009. He had How Fly with Currency in 2008. And those were just the buildup. Like, those weren't even as good as The Surface. Then he had Burn After Rollin' in 2009. He had Kush and OJ in 2010. Cabin Fever 2011. Rolling Papers 2011. That's just 2 fucking years of straight dominance. Like, some of the best mixtapes I've ever heard. It really is insane, and it's a shame, how much he fell off later, but those 2 years just solidify him as one of the best rappers, one of the best mixtape rappers for sure.
Yeah, those series of mixtapes are easily one of the greatest.
Yeah,
Cabin Fever is probably like one of my favorite mixtapes ever.
That's
what made the trap sound popular.
Exactly.
I would argue like that's like probably what really started like the Lex Luger Southside like trap sound, because Wiz had a huge wave going into that, and then that came out, and then you had like Big Sean at the very beginning of his wave too, like on 2 huge features. Like it was crazy.
It really was. And it kind of showed like anybody can kind of get into that trap sound too. Like it doesn't have to be like a Waka Flocka Flame or like
Yeah.
someone with this deep ass fucking voice that's like
He also had
a
the
straight
data
thug.
popping at the same time, like where they would preview the songs and stuff, and they would show like he was like really the first one to do that, like posting vlogs of everything that they were doing.
Yeah, what was that called? That was actually
His day to
sick.
day.
Oh yeah, the day to day. Yeah, and he'd be smoking fucking tree trunk fucking joints. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to watch all those videos, and they had like their own whole like wave. The Taylor Gang, and then like the song with Lex came out.
Yeah, Taylor Gang, I don't know how big that brand got. I mean, it died kind of quick, but like still, it still was
I
dope
don't know
that
if
he got
it
into
died.
it.
Like they have like a huge following.
I just
he sells out like stadiums and shit.
Yeah, I'm just going off of like the merch that I see going to places. I never see anything Taylor Gang anymore, at least.
I mean, it was like a fad, you know, like
He
it's only as relevant as you are at the time.
I mean, he definitely had a lot of people following it though. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
that
Everything
time.
Taylor, bro.
yeah. Yeah,
And
I remember he had
Chevy
people
Woods was
wearing,
dope,
Chuck
too.
Taylors and like camo pants and shit.
Yeah, facts.
I liked Chevy too. Like he was dope.
Yeah, they had like a whole little wave.
All right, Lee, back to you, bud.
I guess I'm just gonna kind of like be a little bit of a sellout and just go with like Jay. Like from the mid '90s to the early 2000s. Basically, he dropped an album every year for like 7 years in a row, which is pretty insane.
Hmm.
Like back then, people dropped like an album every 2 to 3 years. He dropped it one every single year, and they were all like really good. Or for the most part, they're pretty good. But I would say, especially from like Volume 2 to like the Black Album, he's got like Volume 2, Volume 3. I'm not really counting the Dynasty one, but I guess like that's just another thing that came out. And then he's got the Blueprint 2, and then the Black Album, like all back to back years. And the Black Album is my favorite, but Blueprint is also like really highly revered.
Yeah, I think he progressed too. Like he got better as he went along. It wasn't like he dropped a fire album and then it kind of like slowed down a little bit. Like it was dope album, doper album. Holy shit, Blueprint. Holy shit, like
Yeah.
Black. Like, and it was just kind of the finishing run was sick.
And it
And
was
you don't
like-
really see that often.
I think a lot of it had to do with the production too, because like
Yeah.
the production kept getting better and better. And then when he was coming out with like Blueprint and Black Album, it was like Kanye started to get in the mix, and it was like Timbaland and like all these different people. Just Blaze, like he had some of the best producers in their prime, like
Yeah.
making all of the albums.
And I think that's a good point too. Like you say, Kanye's in the mix. It's always good to have competition, but it's still your boy. So you're always going to be like revolving around that name. So like if Kanye is popping off right now, Jay-Z is still right there because they're kind of going hand in hand on each other.
But this was what got Kanye popping though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I
Like-
agree.
Like his first placements were like, I think it was on the Blueprint. I think the Blueprint is like the first time
Yeah,
we
it's
ever
like
heard
very
from
early Kanye work.
And that's 2001. That's like when Jay is like hitting his peak, like popularity. Like he is the best rapper revered by Lil Wayne at the time. Like Lil Wayne thinks that he's the best rapper. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. It's just absolutely legendary. And go look at the Black Album. The Black Album, like half of the album is like multi-platinum hits.
Yeah. I mean, just
Absurd.
yeah. I mean, he's there. He's fucking Jay-Z for a reason.
Jay-Z's the man.
Or,
And he's still relevant. He's still arguably one of the most relevant people in hip hop.
yep.
Easily. One of the GOATs. I mean, if not the GOAT, but
Shout out to early Hove.
All right, Tony, you're back
so
to back, killer.
Since you brought up Kanye, I'm going to ride with that. But I'm not going to do Kanye himself because even though incredible artist alone, I just want to point out around 2011, 2012, from the label perspective, Kanye West and Good Music just ran shit. And it was literally ridiculous. At the time, it was him, Big Sean, early Big Sean too, Pusha T, Sci-Hi the Prince, 2 Chainz, Kid Cudi, John Legend,
I think 2
Common.
Chainz was actually signed to Good Music.
He was like an affiliate, I believe. I don't think he ever dropped a project
I
on.
think he just finessed
under
his
them?
way onto a bunch of those tracks, but I don't think he was actually signed.
Yeah, I think you are right. I remember one time though he was like tweeting like my features are 250K because I'm Good Music now or something. But I know he was with DTP, but either way, he was there. He also had Hit Boy, who's fucking amazing.
It's good music.
One crazy thing to think about is I remember Birdman almost got Kanye to sign with Cash Money. Like, imagine he did sign with Cash Money. Like, what? Like, how different would everything be? Do you
That
think
would
it
have
would be?
been
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would have been crazy. But I
I
mean,
remember
either
he was
way,
so
listen,
close to sign.
But you could say the same thing about Wayne because Jay was trying to sign Wayne too.
Yeah, it could have been. I mean, yeah, you never know. You really never know where you
But
go with these things.
yeah, but anyway, they signed all these fucking people. And then not only were those people dropping their albums, but the music they were making together was crazy. They did this thing called, I know you guys are probably familiar with Good Friday, where every Friday they were just posting banger after banger. And literally every song was fucking fire. They had crazy features. They did like that Runaway remix with Justin Bieber. They had that song Looking for Trouble. J. Cole was on it when J. Cole was barely even relevant.
Yeah, Take One for the Team with Sci-Hi and yeah.
Take One for the Team, Christian Dior, Denim Flow. I
Don't
think Monster was even part of all that, to be honest.
I think so. They had Don't Look Down with Mos Def, Lupe, and like Kanye and Big Sean. Yeah, they had fucking bops.
Dude, they were going. And then they dropped the Labels album, Cruel Winter or Cruel Summer. I forget which one it was. Cruel Summer, right? And that had a lot of fucking good songs too. And it had a good mix because it had like the main hits. I think Click was on it, Mercy, New God Flow. But then it had like a lot of singing songs too. And I know John Legend's on one. That girl, Marsha, I can't think of her last name, but she's pretty good. The song The One, I don't know if you guys heard of it. Kid Cudi also had a pretty good single on there. So just overall, they were just killing it individually. And just to be on the same label and do all this shit together was sick. They also had some early Travis Scott was in the mix. I know he wasn't signed there officially, but I'm pretty sure he was on that album as well. And then to take it even a step further, Kanye just said, fuck it, I'm going to drop, if not his best album, one of his best albums ever. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which was just stacked with features and good music influence all around. So literally in that whole 2-year span, we got classics that still go to this day. Like you'll always hear Mercy, you'll always hear Click, you'll always hear songs from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, you'll always hear Monster. Just literally a crazy ass run.
Yeah, I think that's when like I actually messed with Kanye.
Yeah, I mean
that was like the Nike Yeezy era.
Yeah. Literally, that was it.
The Yeezy Kanye era, where he used to rock like Jordans and shit.
That was when Kanye was like he was always like one of the best ever, like early on, and like always iconic.
That was before he got caught up in like the Kardashian thing.
Yeah, that was like literally like as an icon, he was like
Rose.
He was peak icon. Like that was number one, Kanye West.
He was on the Grammys like with the Yeezys, with the Nike Yeezys. Then he dated Amber Rose, and then I think that was around the same time where he went to the MTV Music Awards and like
put Taylor
said that
Swift
shit to
on
Taylor
blast.
Swift. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a crazy run. And I think the most important thing out of it, we got Travis Scott, right? I think in Cruel Summer, that was his first kind of going onto the scene. I think he did that song. He was in Sin City, right?
Yeah.
He co-produced it too.
Co-produced it. That was his first anything, right, in the game? I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know he came up with Kanye. I don't know how relevant during that time. But yeah, I mean, that was the first time I ever seen his name.
I would say Big Sean is probably the one that made out the best out of that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, Big Sean was literally like
Big Sean's
signed to Kanye.
The biggest
like,
artist that came out of that whole like wave that they had.
Yeah, maybe Kid Cudi though.
Kid Cudi was before that though.
Yeah, he was.
Kid Cudi was huge before the whole like good music thing collective. Like he was big before that.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Kid Cudi released like his second and third album under Good Music.
I mean, to be honest, like I've never really been a like big Kid Cudi fan, so.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, you know how huge he is either way. Like.
Yeah. I just think that was a little bit before they put out like Cruel Summer together. Like they were on stuff together. Cudi had already put out like his biggest songs.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, that was definitely like towards the end of his like prime. even though
Whereas
he's
like Big Sean catapulted himself out of that.
yeah,
situation
yeah. I mean,
and then
yeah, I
dropped
feel
like Dark Sky Paradise after that.
yeah, like Big Sean came up on good music. Like
Yeah.
I think everyone else just like signed there after the fact. But I mean, that label at that time was literally
So crazy.
incredible.
Yeah, Kanye, that was definitely a dope time for sure. And I remember him and Push like went, was it Sway that they did the freestyle on, and then they did like a Hot 97 freestyle with like Push and Common and Big Sean and Sci, or maybe not Common, but it was like Sci High, Big Sean, like all of them when
Cypher.
they were like promoting Cruel Summer.
Yeah.
They all went and like freestyled together. It was sick.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah, I know
remember that.
exactly what you're talking about. Dude,
Um,
that was an incredible time. But let me get into my next one real quick.
Yeah.
There's not really a time span on this one. I just want to throw that out there, but it's not really a straight run, but I just want to point out like the way this went. So I'm going to say Dr. Dre. Like we obviously all know how great Dr. Dre is, but I kind of just want to focus on like his run as, I guess, like not only a producer, but who he's found like during his time, because
it's an insane list.
it's insane. He literally starts NWA, like Bang, probably if not the biggest rap group, one of the biggest rap groups at the time. Then he goes Bang right into Tupac, gets fucking Tupac,
Snoop
turns
was before
into.
that, I thought. Was Snoop before that?
I think it was like right. They were kind of like right together, but either way, Snoop Dogg. I'm saying Snoop Dogg next. If he's before, my apologies. If he's together, whatever. Tupac, Snoop Dogg. Then they go on a little bit further, Eminem. Then they go and find 50 Cent out of fucking nowhere. And all these people just turn into fucking superstars. Then years later, Kendrick Lamar. Like it's literally ridiculous, like who this man put onto the game and who they all became. Like these are all like multi-platinum selling artists. Like it's fucking crazy.
He's definitely like undisputed greatest hip hop producer ever.
Dude, and
Like,
that's the thing. I'm not even talking
it.
like about producing himself, like just who he's found and like who he got like into the spotlight. Like I get like he obviously did their work too, but just like him like getting this talent and knowing who has what it takes and
No,
But,
what
I mean,
you're saying
was
makes
the production though.
well, not really though, but because what you're saying makes a lot of sense that you're mentioning that, because some of their best songs aren't necessarily Dre songs, Dre produced songs. Like,
yeah, I mean,
For
like
who?
for
Every
who?
artist.
For Kendrick?
I
Well-
wouldn't even really consider Kendrick in like. I would say like NWA, Snoop, Pac, and 50. Kendrick's kind of just like on the side, but he didn't really like produce that. He was just involved in Good Kid, Mad City. He produced like most of those first.
no, he
albums.
definitely produced all their big songs, and they like by all means are where they were because of Dr. Dre, and they'll probably tell you that themselves. But I'm just saying, like, these are still good artists without Dr. Dre, you know? And he like found all these people. Like it's not like he just grabbed some fucking loser and was like, yo, you're gonna be on all my beats and be dope. Like he just saw raw talent,
Yeah,
not took
I agree,
advantage, but just combined with
I
it.
don't downplay like.
No,
He's
never.
literally the greatest producer ever.
No,
like,
for sure.
Every single one of those artists, he has their biggest song.
Yeah,
or
for sure.
or he was
For
on
sure.
he was in the mixing, like the engineer behind it for sure.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. So just like Dr. Dre's timeless fucking run is incredible.
You're back up, Lee.
I got some
Richard
fire
Time was
ones.
so sick.
Tono's hyped up about some of his takes today.
I got the
Get
gas.
Richard Die Trying is so sick, dude. All right, I'm just gonna say the one that everyone's gonna say, which is Drake. I think it's pretty undeniable. I mean, we already mentioned it earlier, but it's pretty undeniable at this point that like Drake has basically had the most insane run out of any rapper we've ever seen. I don't think anybody's like been basically the number one rapper for this long period of time. Now, granted, the biggest rappers in the 90s like both died, so that doesn't really count. But the closest thing would be Jay, I guess.
Point
Like-
out though, Drake also did it through two totally different eras, and there's way more artists today than there ever was during all these other people's times.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely true. So part of that, I think, has been his ability to almost be like a chameleon and take different popular styles from whatever is kind of the current wave and then spin them into his own music. So that keeps him relevant for a really long period of time. But basically, I just want to go over like his run essentially starts with So Far Gone. Even before that, when he was featured on like Dedication 3, started to pop up on the scene with Best I Ever Had and like start being seen with Lil Wayne. And then So Far Gone comes out and he's huge, right? What was after So Far Gone? So the only one that I don't think is that good, but it still was building his wave was Thank Me Later. So that's the one with Kanye. I would say that's probably like one of the most disappointing projects that Kanye's been involved in terms of like production. But I think that it didn't affect Drake's trajectory at all, obviously. And then
there was still bops on it, you know.
Yeah. But then Take Care came out, and that was also like The Weeknd. That was like the peak of The Weeknd's trajectory where he was just skyrocketing after that. That album was just absolutely amazing. And then a couple years later, he drops Nothing Was the Same. And I actually did like an essay on it about like how sampling is creative in college.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was part of my thesis. It was like one of my supporting things was Tuscan Leather, because that song samples like multiple Whitney Houston songs.
Yeah.
And then after that, he had If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. And then What a Time to Be Alive and Views came out when we were, seniors in college. And he's still dropping and his biggest song didn't even come out yet. I'm pretty sure his biggest song is
it's probably Hotline Bling, right?
No.
One Dance.
No.
Nah.
I don't even
Both
know.
of those
Drake
songs.
has so many fucking
What
big ass
was the
songs.
one from the last from Scorpion? The single for Scorpion with
God's
AZ
Plan?
in the video. Yeah, I think that's his biggest single ever.
Yeah, I mean the streaming era definitely changed shit
Yeah,
up.
100%. I think that the streaming era is completely different, and we'll never know like how mixtapes would have done in this environment.
Yeah.
It was like kind of different, but just that alone, and Drake is still the biggest artist, is just, there's not much else you can say about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's a
absolutely
whole
incredible.
decade at number one, pretty much. If
It
not,
says a lot
top
about
three.
his team too. Like it says a lot about 40, about Boy Wonder, about all the people that are behind him. Because like OVO is like a large collective of people. It's not just him putting all this stuff together. So that whole like team, absolutely incredible job. I really wish that they could take that knowledge and apply it to somebody else on their label and like help out somebody else other than Drake. And it remains to be seen if they have the ability to do that. But regardless, he has the most Billboard hits ever.
More slaps than the Beatles.
Yeah. And
He
then
literally
Wayne
has like 170 Billboard trend.
No, it was like 220, I think.
Yes, some like insane
Yeah,
number.
I think Wayne has 170. I think he's number 3. But yeah,
I think Drake has like the most top tens too. So
yeah, Drake is ridiculous. And the thing is, he's not done. He really isn't. Like his numbers are still gonna pump.
the best part is though, like I want to point out with the whole Billboard thing, because like if you drop a song or like an album, like most of your songs go to the Billboards nowadays. Like it's pretty easy, but Drake's songs like sit on the fucking Billboard charts for a fucking minute. Like
Yeah, for
even the
weeks.
lower ones like that are in the 60s, 70s, like they're there for like 10, 12, 13 weeks before they
Absolutely. I mean, when did like even the song that's not even that great, but it's still pretty good, that Tootsie Slide shit is probably still in the top 10 over the last 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah. And now that Chicago freestyle shit's blowing up heavy,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and that will, because it was a dope. We've talked
dope
about
song.
that.
Yeah, Drake's the fucking man.
But yeah, Drake. I mean, you can't say enough about Drake.
He
It's
just finds a
ridiculous.
way
Look
to
at his
stay
house too. Fuck, man.
Finds a way to stay
I'm a-
relevant. I mean, he will be a billionaire. Like he 100% will be a billionaire. He will come out with number one hits like for the next 5 years at least, if not longer than that. It's just inevitable. Like
Yeah.
it's insane. It's
Say it one more time. He's got more slaps than who?
The Beatles.
literally everyone.
Yeah,
Everybody.
literally
Everybody.
everybody.
Literally everybody. All right, so I'm going back to back here, and then Lee and Tono will finish it out. So we talked about this 2 weeks ago after we did Future's album review on a mediocre album. We had to circle back and talk about his run. I just want to bring it back to attention real quick. This is an 11-month time frame, people. He dropped Monster in October of 2014, Beast Mode in January 2015, 56 Nights a couple months later in March of 2015, DS2 in July of 2015, and What a Time to Be Alive in September of 2015. All 5 of those projects within 11 months is literally fucking insane. Like some of the best trap work of all time, and 808 Mafia production all over it. So if you don't get anything out of the lyrics, you have those fucking fire beats. It's just really insane. Like Future's run, and I'm not talking about like Future still has a little bit of a run after that too, like where he has number 1 songs like Mask Off and shit. But like just those and think about 11 months. Like people, like Lee mentioned it before, that people dropped albums 2 and 3 years apart. He has 5 fucking projects in 11 months that are all
projects
that are all very good.
Bad projects.
So yeah, just it.
I mean, I was basically praising Jay for releasing 1 album a year for like a while, but Future released like 5 good projects in like 11 months.
Now, granted, Future can make a song in 30 seconds, and it doesn't have to mean much, but still, it's fucking fire.
Well, but to make this level of technology to make this level of songs, though, like that's pretty fucking impressive.
I think it's much easier to make like very professional sounding music now with like modern computers and digital audio workspaces though. Like in 2000 it was not nearly as easy to just quickly make like a banger.
No, absolutely not.
Now you could just do it with a laptop.
Absolutely not. And just his tone over those beats, and just the way he like stretches notes, and it's Young Thug-esque. Like Young Thug kind of did it after him, but his delivery is just insane. So go check out that run. And then I'm going to end it off with, I know it's obvious too with an album, but my favorite album ever is Good Kid, Mad City. It spent 359 weeks on the Billboard 200, which is the number 2 album ever of all time to do that, behind Eminem. So, and it's just ridiculous. Like Eminem had so much commercial appeal at the time because he's a white rapper. Kendrick is the first black rapper to be in that category. Like it's an amazing accomplishment. He comes from Compton, and he does that with his sophomore album. It's only his 2nd album on the scene, and that's going to be talked about forever. Good Kid, Mad City is if not everybody's favorite album of all time. It is one of the best rap albums of all time, and there's nothing else to say about it. Kendrick Lamar. Excited for what he's going to drop next.
That wasn't even a run. You just said 1 album.
Well, no, his run was 306. His run was 359 weeks spent on the Billboard 200.
I got you.
Yeah.
It's still a classic album. I bump that shit all the time.
Billboard 200 top albums.
That's like the number 2 of all time.
Yeah. Like the most.
Good Kid, Mad City, you're saying that's it was.
It spent the longest on Billboard.
It was top 100 albums for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's insane.
And it's only behind Eminem. And Eminem has number 1 and he has number 3. So he's right in between Eminem.
Fucking sick accomplishment.
Yeah. I think Eminem had like 440 weeks with
that's not even the same.
No, it's not. Exactly. That's
like there was no digital music when that shit came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts.
No. It's unreal. And then because I know no one's going to say this and Lee's going to fucking hate that I said it, but Lil Nas X, I have to throw out here, that song with Billy Ray, Old Town Road, it sat as the number 1 song for 19 straight weeks. The record before that was 16 straight weeks.
What song was that?
Some bullshit fucking Lady Gaga song probably. Hold on, let me look. I should have had that noted.
I honestly thought it was not to say more slaps than the Beatles again, but I actually thought it was the Beatles that was at number 1 that long. But I could be totally wrong.
But again, what were there, like 3 bands out at that point?
Yeah. I mean, it's way different.
It was like them and the Rolling Stones.
I mean, either way, it's more impressive now to sit at number 1 because a lot of songs go number 1 and come right off the next week,
There's also way more music and way more. Yeah. There's way more competition.
So Old Town Road did it for 19 straight weeks. Is it going to tell me? Oh, I think number 2 was Despacito, the Daddy Yankee song.
True.
My God.
Yeah, which is fucking I mean, you can't hate when it's doing shit like that. I don't have the other ones. I had the other ones before, but Just crazy. I just wanted to point that out. Not one of my takes, but fucking nuts. You gotta say that the longest song run. So, all right, Lee, finish it off with your fifth.
All right, so I'm gonna take it to the Dat Piff celebrated section of mixtapes, and if you've never scrolled through the 3 pages of the celebrated mixtapes, 100% do it because they're all fucking amazing. A young man by the name of Malcolm has 3 of the top mixtapes on page 1, all with over 1 million downloads. The mixtapes include Macadelic, Kids, and Best Day Ever, which all came out back to back to back. And then
Were they all the same year? Not right.
No, they weren't the same year. No.
Like 3 years apart.
It was Kids, Best Day Ever, and then Macadelic. Macadelic was when he moved to LA. And then he also has Faces, which is on page 2 or 3, I think, which is my personal favorite out of all of them, to be honest. But basically, Mac's run is – and then he has the High Life too on page 3. So he has 5 out of the top, 40 mixtapes ever downloaded on DatPiff.
That's crazy. I
Absolutely
didn't even know
insane.
that.
Yeah, I mean, rest in peace, Mac. He was probably the most talented all-around musician of our generation. Just had an incredible run during the mixtape era and then transitioned into being a completely well-rounded artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
People
Rest
don't
in
say this
peace.
enough, but Mac Miller literally has such a huge spot in hip hop's history.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one that I've really seriously was upset when he passed away.
I feel that.
A decent amount of people have unfortunately passed away in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
In hip hop, but that was the only one that really.
Well, he was the most everlasting one. No offense to Juice WRLD or X, but they only been relevant for a year. Mac Miller is installed in our brains over 10 years.
Yeah, I think all of them are talented, but I think music from pure musical standpoint, he was arguably the most talented musician all around on the planet.
I feel
he could
that.
play every instrument. He could produce dope beats. He could sing. He could rap. He could make different genres of music. He could make a rock song, a jazz song, a slow song with piano. He could play the piano. You can't really say that about anyone else in hip hop. And he was just a genuine person.
Mac's the fucking boy, man. He's growing up in high school. That's what you fucking come up on. So just to see that go away sucks so bad.
So shout out, man.
R.I.P. Mac, baby.
Good one. Good one.
All right,
All right, Tono, finish it off.
I'm going to close it off strong, even though I don't like this guy personally, but it's not even about him. I'm going to go with DJ Khaled from 2007 to 2010. Probably gave us some of the biggest classics ever. I remember being in 7th grade and just seeing a song with that many rappers on it. I was just mind blown. The only person to do that was Busta Rhymes with Touch It remix. And then there's this fat guy that just yells his names on tracks, and Lil Wayne, T.I., Akon, everyone's on these songs. But just to name –
We taking over.
Just to name some of these songs, it starts off with We Taking Over, goes to I'm So Hood, Out Here Grinding, Go Hard, Fed Up, Put Your Hands Up, All I Do Is Win, Welcome to My Hood. And the rest was fucking history, man. Those songs and the artists that he got together, I still don't know till this day how – I don't even know what he does, specifically besides
I don't think anybody does.
I don't think – yeah, honestly, I don't even think he does anything personally.
He doesn't do anything.
I just think he recruits all these people.
Into the studio and just whispers in people's ears.
Literally. And I think he just recruits these people, gets the right producers with the right artists, makes this massive song with a bunch of features, yells, "We the best." And it's just a bop every fucking time. Especially back then when Lil Wayne, T.I., Fat Joe.
It says he has production credits on a lot of these songs.
Yeah. I mean, it's his album. I'm sure he just tells whoever's producing it, yo, I helped out, touch 8 buttons and gets credits. But I don't really care what he does. The man blessed us with some of the best songs as definitely my older childhood, early preteen years.
Fire Wayne verses in his
dude,
prime.
it's incredible. And
Yeah, he's part of 8 top 10 hits and 2 number 1 hits. I mean, that's
So
crazy.
what's the low key best Khaled song? Holy Key.
That's later.
I know, but I'm saying what's the best song?
Honestly, there's so fucking many. I think my favorite one is just because the simplicity of it is I'm on one. Drake, Rick Ross, and Wayne.
That beat is so fire though.
Yeah,
That's
I
like
love
one of
that
the
song.
best. Like
Actually, it's not even on this list, but it was like probably 2006, 2007. There's many people don't know, but there's this song called Brown Paper Bag.
yeah, with Wayne.
That's probably my favorite Khaled song. But that's it. Some fucking incredible runs between us three, and there's so many artists that we miss, but you can't fit them all into one little list.
Yeah, exactly.
And That's on My Chest was from that album too.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn,
Yeah.
yo.
But definitely comment who your runs were. If we missed any, I mean, we definitely missed stuff. We were just kind of doing back to back to back, but comment and let us know what you think of ours.
Lionhearted Entertainment.